they just can't help themselves. WNBA players cannot help themselves. Like, this is Breanna Stewart. This is one of the multimillionaire players. Why are you saying this? It's going to be spicy on upcoming CBA negotiations. Why are you saying this? Why are you showing your hand early? Why are you, like, you're not getting what you want. You're like, it's going to be spicy. They're not taking you seriously. They're not taking you seriously. They didn't even respond. You gave them a list of demands and they just said nah the last time. Like, it's not the ideal scenario. Is that, I've said this, is you negotiate a short-term CBA. That is the best case scenario, is that you negotiate a short-term CBA. So then if the league's growth continues, you can then leverage that in your next CBA. But literally, all that this season has proven is that there is a professionalism problem in the league, there's a refereeing problem in the league, and there is a problem in the league that when Caitlin Clark doesn't play, nobody watches. So you're already getting paid. Your teams are already losing money, even more money because of the charter flights. They're losing more money because a lot of teams are building facilities. The expansion fees are not nearly making up for that, being split between those teams, because you only get 42% of the expansion fees. The TV deal, as much as people want to say, there's a $200 million TV deal, lads, the WNBA owns 42% of the league. That TV deal is realistically $80 million a year. It's not $200 million a year, it's $80 million a year. Because the NBA gets $80 million a year as well for funding this league for 20 years. If you guys agree this is crazy, subscribe. We are trying to hit 52.75k by the end of the day. But I'm pretty much finito anyway for the day now, thankfully. It's my last video recording. But I saw it is here. The first thing must be done is eliminate as NBA subsidies. That the NBA owns 42% of the league. It's not happening. Like, the thing is now is the NBA are going to be pocketing $80 million a year. So the NBA have lost, in its totality on the WNBA, from keeping it afloat, they've probably lost about $300 million. So they're going to be pocketing $80 million directly a year from this deal. So the NBA in 5 years, by 2031, realistically, the NBA will have broke even on the WNBA, and then will, for the rest of the time, start pocketing $80 million a year, $80 million plus a year. So it's one of the great, best long-term investments of all time. It's going to make the NBA billions and billions and billions of dollars. Do these players know they've no leg to stand on if Caitlin's not with them at the table? Yeah, it is. It'll get spicier in the NBA. It's no longer a subsidized league. The NBA owns 42% of the league, and that's kind of how it works. They fund quite a bit of it. They've invested. They pay the money to own a certain percent. But this is not the way. Learn from the NFL and the NBA. Don't overplay your hand too early. Like, they threaten lockouts in the summer. Like, we can be honest. Dejanay and Angel Reese, they were threatening lockouts on a podcast. Like, what are we doing? Like, this league has a professionalism problem. You had union reps threatening lockouts on podcasts with non-union reps. You had non-union reps, a player that is not in the union and is not even in the meetings about CBA negotiations, saying, if you don't pay us what we want, we gonna sit out. You have one of the 7 richest players in the league in Angel Reese already, and 7 might be an understatement. Let's be real. What players in the league have the most money? Sabrina's probably the richest player in the league in terms of revenue got from basketball. Sabrina's probably made the most that are currently playing. Stewie probably next. Because again, Stewie was getting paid $1 million a year to go play in Russia for a while. Stewie. Then you probably go Caitlin, Angel. I would say Caitlin's makes more than Angel, but it's not that much. But at the end of the day, you've got a multi-millionaire player saying, if you don't pay us what we want, we're going to sit out, when there are players in the league that, if this league folds, it's not only it's going to affect their ability to literally pay their rent. It's going to affect their ability to put food on the table. It's going to affect their ability, because if this league stops, actually, realistically, it won't. It won't. There's summer leagues. These players they really wanted, they'll go play in Mexico. If the WNBA lockout happens, I have a feeling Unrivaled will go longer. I have a feeling there'll be. I think AU will probably swap till the summer. I think that could be a thing. Unrivaled might be at the normal time, and then Athletes Unlimited will go on during the WNBA season. Maybe the CBA, the Chinese league, decides to put on a summer league to bring over all these players. Like there's going to be something. There's going to be something. If it goes in the lockout, it goes in the lockout. But like it's going into lockout. It's going into lockout. There's been too many threats of a lockout, and let's be real. Let's be real. These players have unrivaled. These players have unrivaled. It is a benefit. Most of the people that are negotiating, it is a benefit to them that the league is cancelled. Again, they represent the players, so I'm not going to say that the players are going to that the people on the Players Association are going to push for it. But we have to be honest. There is a benefit to quite a few people that are in those union meetings for the season to be cancelled. There is a benefit for a lot of them. And as we've said, it's a conflict of interest. But at the end of the day, Breanna Stewart responding in this way is not smart. It is not smart at all. It is not smart at all. And I don't understand why they keep playing their hand in interviews and on podcasts, or in like random press interviews and on podcasts. If they're going to speak about this publicly, like Neka's not even speaking about this publicly. He's the president. Like, you had a random union rep in Dijonay, a union rep in Satu. You've got these people. These are not even on it. And you've got then Nafisa Collier coming out being like, no, it's not a conflict of interest. We're going to act on behalf of the players. Then you've got Stewie, which we talked about earlier, trying to leverage unrivaled in negotiations. Like, it's messy, and it's not going to end well for the players. It's not going to end well for the players. Let's be real. It's not going to end well for the players. The owners don't take them seriously. Why? Because these owners, a lot of NBA owners, are subsidizing the league. And that's the thing. The reason why Philly and all these are like, oh, they want it to be NBA markets, NBA owners, is that these NBA owners can at least afford. These are NBA owners that want to be in the WNBA, and they can afford to eat the losses. They can afford to have this as a loss leader, which is why they're going like that. But at the end of the day, look, the players are screwed. They're screwed, I tell you. They're screwed. They're absolutely screwed in these negotiations. And originally I thought, you know what, they got a little bit of leverage. Like, man, these owners, I mean this when I say this, these owners could not care less if the league is stopped for a year. They couldn't care less. Like, I think a lot of these owners, even the new owners, are there just kind of because of the boom of women's sports. But at the end of the day, if there's a lockout, it stops that, and it harms the players way more than it harms the billionaires. It harms the players making $60,000 a year more than it harms the billionaires. It harms the players making $60,000 a year more than it harms Stewie, more than it harms Caitlin Clark, more than it harms Angel Reese. It harms the totality of the league. And if the players end up forcing a lockout, which I think they're going to do, it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a disaster long term for them. But anyway, I'll see you guys.